Hello guys, welcome to the Create 208 YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be taking my 2021 Husqvarna FX350 and putting a Timbersled Aero 120 kit on it. So the first step, we're going to bring the bike outside. We're going to get it really clean. We're going to take the skid plate off and make sure all the frame's clean. Then we're going to take it inside and we're going to start disassembling the bike. Okay, so a quick overview. This is my 2021 Husqvarna FX350. This is the bike the kit's going on. And then you can see my Timbersled Aero 120 LE kit. I just bought this kit. I got it used. This kit was about $3,000. It was a snow checked one, so it's got the Fox suspension on it. And then over here we have the fit kit. So I ended up going with the fixed strut kit, and then we have the instruction manuals. So it is saying that the first step is to disassemble the rear end. So it looks like we got a few things. We'll read through this and then we'll start getting it set up. First step, we're gonna remove the seat, the side panels, frame guards, and exhaust silencer. So we'll go ahead and take those off and we're gonna set those aside because we're gonna be reinstalling all that. All right, let's grab a bag so we can take out the air filter, roost guard, chain, upper and lower chain rollers, and chain guides. So I got some bags for the filters and then for all the little chain links and stuff like that. Got the air filter. We are not reusing this stuff, so let's go ahead and put it away and then we'll grab it in the summertime. Find your master link, pop that off, put all your stuff in a bag and then you'll know exactly where to get it when it's time to put it back on. So we'll roll this around. We'll get this chain off of here and then we'll also throw this in a bag and put it away for next year. So we're gonna remove this upper chain guard and also this lower chain guard right here. And then grab a 10mm wrench and you'll be able to reach around the back side of this and pop that out. All right, now we're gonna take off the rear brake and the rear brake master cylinder. So we're gonna take out this bolt, and this one, and then this will come out in two pieces and then we should be able to slide them apart. And then we'll be able to disconnect this from the swing arm and this will all come out and then it'll all stay one piece when we pull it off. What's up, buddy? Did you come in to help? All right, now we're gonna remove the upper shock bolt. That's a 13mm, and then we're gonna save this top bolt to install the fit kit. There's your top bolt. And just a heads up, the whole swing arm did drop down when I took that out, so you might want to have a little bit of, I want to be holding it up a little bit before it drops. Now we're going to remove this swing arm pivot bolt right here, and then we're going to take all of this out as one assembly and save it for when we want to go back to dirt. So the shock, the rear wheel, all the brake stuff will come off, and then we'll set that all aside. So this is going to be a 3/4 bolt. And now we have this bolt right here to remove. Okay, now that we got the rear end completely removed, we're gonna move to the front end and we're gonna take off the brake caliper. So in the instructions it says this should all come off as one piece, so do not disconnect it anywhere. So we're gonna remove these 2 bolts here. We're gonna take this off right here so we can pull this line through, and then we'll take off this front number plate and then unmount it off here on the bars, and we should be able to pull this all off as one assembly. And we will not be reusing that, so we can throw that in the box with the other stuff. Well, I opened up the install kit for the rear track, and I figured out that I'm actually missing some bushings that get installed right here on the Timbersled that the guy that I bought this from did not include. So I'm gonna have to go on Timbersled's website, order those bushings, and wait for them to show up before I can finish this rear track setup. In the meantime, we're gonna start on the front end. We're gonna put the front ski on and get it all set up. And then when those other parts show up later on this week, we'll be able to hurry and throw that track on. I've kind of got the track sitting in place. It'll actually move up about 1 inch or 2, but this is how it's gonna look. It's pretty crazy. So we're gonna get working on this front end and get this ski on. Something that's really cool about this kit is that it's all painted white. So it's gonna match the bike. That'll add a really nice touch. So I'm gonna get faster shipping on those bushings and get them here as soon as possible. But here's a little sneak peek. Okay, so front end disassembly. Looks like we're just basically gonna take off the front wheel, and then we're gonna take off the fork guards and set those aside. So I'm just gonna throw you guys up on a time lapse. We'll loosen these bolts here on both sides, and we'll pull the spindle all the way out. And then we'll pull off these fork guards. Okay, now you're gonna grab your spacer kit that is your bike specific that came with your install kit, and you're gonna push them in right here. Get that on both sides, and then you're gonna line this up and push your spindle back through it. Okay, so after you got your spindle on here, don't tighten any of these bolts yet, leave them loose. And then you're gonna take these black clips, put them around your fork tube, just like that. And then we're gonna grab the rest of these parts here. We're gonna get ready to install this top part. All right, so the instructions aren't very good on this, but the way that I figured out that it works, you take these spacer clamps, you slide them in between your spindle and your fork tube, facing like this, and then you get these black shims and you'll slide them down. And then the next piece is going to be these right here, and you're gonna take them, match that 45, slide on like that, and then your bolts will go through like that. Okay, so this is how you have it set up. And then you go through and tighten everything. Make sure you got even gaps on these clamps. get everything down tight, and then we're gonna tighten this lock nut here for that, and then we'll be able to tighten these bolts here, and then we can reinstall the fork guards. All right, so I went to put the fork guards back on, and you can see that there's interference right here with this piece of metal. So I'm gonna mark it with a marker, and then we'll trim it up a little bit, and then we'll be able to slide this all the way back. So I just used my jigsaw, put 2 little cuts in there, and then we can put it against here and push this little flap out and get our bolts in. All right guys, well this is where we made it to. I'm gonna wait to put the number plate on so I can route the brake cable back up through there. The ski is all the way on. We got the fork guards on. I have the bike strapped down to the Timbersled right there. That way if someone came up and bumped it, it's not gonna tip over. It's really solid, so we'll leave it like this for a few days until the parts come, and then we'll jump back into this. We'll get this rear track set up, get the bushings in, get the seat back on and all the number plates. But it looks super cool so far. It's turning out awesome. This is gonna be my first year ever riding a Timbersled, so I can't wait. All right, well, we'll catch you guys later on this week. All right, guys, it's been a few days now. I have the bushings that I needed. So I already put one on. I just put a little grease on it and then tapped it in with this mallet. So we're gonna put the rest of these in and then follow the instructions and finish up this rear track. Okay, we're gonna grab the reducers, which are these here, and the instructions say to put an O-ring on each one and then to put a little bit of grease on this, and then we will be sliding that into the bushings that we just installed. All right, now before we put this track on, we're gonna remove this bolt for the kickstand, and then we're gonna clean up this frame a little bit, and then we'll be able to slide the track in. And it just unclips right here. All right, so we're gonna put a little bit of grease on this axle, a little bit of grease through here. We're gonna slide the track all the way forward. We're gonna put the chain over there and set it loosely on the sprocket, and then we're gonna slide that shaft back through there. All right, so every bike's gonna be different, but on the Huskies and KTMs, we got the spacing set up like this, and then we have an O-ring at every single spot. So the instructions weren't very good at specifying how this is set up, but we kind of just had to play around with it for a minute until we got it to line up. All right, so we're gonna throw in this fixed rod. It's gonna come and mount right down here. You can kind of see the bolts are like right here. And then it comes up right where your factory shock mounted. And there is 2 little bushings that you install on that. So we'll get that in place and get it tightened down. All right, moving on, it is now time to mount the brake lever. So I'm gonna route it like this. Up this fixed strut, I'll probably zip tie it right there. And then I'm gonna come up, pull this fender off, and probably slide it up underneath this fuel tank. That's where all these cables are ran. That's where I ran the radiator stuff. So probably pop the tank, slide it up through there. We'll zip tie it up with these 2 cables here, and then we'll mount it right there. Okay, so the chain that was included with this Timbersled kit was not long enough. So I had to get my stock chain and I had to break it and cut it down a little bit and use it. So when I go back to dirt, I'm gonna have to get a new chain. But I got that on there. And then the way you tension this is you have this bolt right here. So if you loosen this bolt, it pushes against this white part and slides it in this channel you can see right here. Now, if you need to push it in, you can tighten it and it will push against this bar. The bolt will come through and push against this bar and slide it the opposite way. So it's a little bit tricky to get in there. You have to use a wrench and it's like a quarter turn every time. But I got the bottom of this strut mounted in. We got the chain tensioned and everything's looking good. So it's sitting up on the stand right now because it doesn't really stay up straight without it. With how this track is rounded, it kind of tries to roll over. I'll pick up on this again tomorrow and we'll try to finish it up. I'm gonna put the front number plate back on and put some of these plastics back on over here and start getting the bike back together. All right, guys, well, here's the finished product. So there's still gonna be a lot that I gotta do to this bike, like the thermostat, the intake and engine blanket and stuff like that to get it prepped for the snow. So thanks for watching, guys. If this helped you out, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you for more Timbersled content in the future.